Hello and welcome to the Community Garden here on WMUC Digital College Park Radio. Dylan and I are here once again. Hi, Dylan.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
I am great, man. And we're here with Will Kobus, student artist here at College Park, and we are super excited to get the show going. Let's jump right into it with a track from Will Kobus called Spring Forward, off of his 2019 album.
Faded in plain sight.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. Spring Forward.
Privy depicted the bitter penance that intertwined with pie, so bringing my past, repented on sinner like crooked posture, imposing in all position. My frame of thought's been pinned to the pinnacles of incision, depending on the morphine, excessive morphine prescriptions that scribe the stanza with senses that gentrify common senses. But I threw my seniority to the side as soon as my cap and gown spent its moments swift in the sky, and my father called with a crystal clear conscience. Behind the sockets this summer would be the first on the 10 of stars with a line. He could look at me in person, he feeling the shit of sauna while I'm happy accepting assignments from class or crime. At this point I'm feeling the pressure this summer, gonna be the one that they rock the bells with the effort and choir and Quasimodo to hold my back, been it better for bread berettas, can't ignore the demons do get a plus. Yeah, my several college acceptance letters won't let us so stressing the higher learning from season, a scarlet letter in context with my efforts to pierce the black for the crown through my gift to set a real like poinsettia set up instead of my sanity. As of late it's been drifting, ship in a setup. As of late the ship in a setup. As of late the ship in a setup. Yeah, as of late the ship in a Ever since you succumbed to the sound of snapping a finger, only thing you weighing in on is visiting kin for light off a beacon. I think it's past with no inclination of reason. Delta liners crucial to slaughtering all your demons. Why we left so abruptly, apologies never reaching. What's going on in this space, I'm privy passing allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? 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 What's going on?
Again, that was a track called Spring Forward off of Will Kobus' 2019 album, Faded in Plain Sight.
Ollie, man, welcome to the studio. How you doing?
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm good, man. Just chilling, you know.
True.
Today's been pretty relaxed day. Had some class and then just did some homework.
That's great.
Yeah.
Relax is nice.
It was a beautiful day.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess we'll start the conversation today. Again, just want to say thank you for being here. It's great. It's good to be in here with like a longtime friend. It's really nice like that.
Yeah, it's not.
And you guys actually live together, right?
Yeah, we live together right now.
Yeah,
we'll go home together after this.
Yep.
So we did want to start today with talking about this specific community in which we are thankfully all a part of, which is family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And family is like a biological community. It is pretty much our first community. Well, it is our first community that we are involved in. And not only does this community help you develop physically through childhood, but they play a really important part in the development of your social life, of your mental health, of your emotional health, and they really guide your life. And so this is like a very important community.
They lay down the foundation.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Straight up.
Even maybe not your parents, but I feel, my sibling has influenced me a lot, your siblings. You guys are living together now. I'm sure you guys influence each other. But
sure.
when your first roommates, your family, the longest roommates,
Yeah, no, for real.
you pick up those influences. Somebody comes home with a new hobby or a new interest, and maybe that's how you get into it. It's
And
pretty
not
cool.
always even in the in the like traditional sense where you have your like family you're born into, but the family you choose, like kind of referring back to what you're getting at, like if whoever you're like the five, like if you can pick like the five people you're hanging around the most, you're probably gonna find some like similar tendencies in how you're acting based on the people that you're surrounding yourself with.
For
you
sure.
know?
Oh, absolutely.
So
For sure.
it's inherent.
Well, so Ali, this track, this album, this record that came out this year, Faded in Plain Sight, first of all, is absolutely incredible. Just
Thank
like
you, man. I
a
appreciate it.
fabulous piece.
I appreciate it.
And family is a very important theme in this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about like the familial themes that are woven throughout the tracks?
Yeah. So, when I started making the music, I initially because a lot of people that know me know that I've been doing music for a while and I've been working on a quote unquote project for a while. But it just had like different manifestations. So actually, before we made this project, I had a whole mixtape that I scrapped. It was 15 songs, same deal, about an hour long. But it was just, this was like me in my developmental stage. Like I was still learning how to like rhyme and write songs. And you're always working on that. I'm still always trying to improve on that. But just at that time, I think I was going through a super developmental phase. But I had a friend who had a studio, so I had access to a space. So I was just getting beats off YouTube. Like, we didn't know how to produce. We didn't know how to mix. We didn't know how to master. We didn't know how to do anything. We were really just pulling beats off YouTube, converting them. And I was just rapping on the little mic we had.
True.
And then at the end, I was like, nah, this isn't it. Like, like I was self-aware enough I was trying to be self-aware enough to be like, all right, like I know what I'm trying to do here, but I think that the concepts I'm talking about, I can flesh them out and make them, like, kind of tie everything in together a little bit better. I just have to improve. So then that's when this project kind of started to come into mind. Like, I started writing songs, and all these songs that I write at the time, it wasn't like I had the concept pre-working on it. It's just as you're working on songs, I feel like whatever like kind of headspace you're in, like I was just kind of pulling from everything that was going on. And a lot of it, like, to draw, I guess, it back to the family dynamic, is like how I was raised. So my family situation, in the sense of I was born in the States. My father's from Africa. He's from Senegal. And my mother's American, so like they got married. She converted to Islam. We moved to Senegal, and I grew up in Senegal. And when I was in Senegal, long story short, we've talked about this, but it's
go for it.
It's
please.
a long story, but basically, we left the country. My mom took me and my brothers. We fled the country, came back to the States, and kind of had to like readjust back to that lifestyle. Because my mother was American, like before she met my father, so we always had that family tie on my mom's side of the family, and I've been here ever since. So a lot of this project, when I left the country when I was 10 years old, there was a thing set up, I guess, with my visa where I couldn't go back to Senegal to visit my father, like, because my father was there, my grandparents, all my dad's side of the family, until I was 18. So this project starts, Spring Forward is the first song where I graduate. It's about me the day I graduated high school, because the day I graduated high school was the day that like everything, like all that stuff was kind of like forced back to the surface from my childhood. So like it was me dealing with like the fact that I was about to go away to college for the first time and like be alone, but then having to go back to Senegal and like deal with like getting clarity where I hadn't gotten clarity from my childhood before, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? And I didn't. When I went, I didn't get it, what I was looking for. And I realized that when it fell right before me going to college for the first time. So when I came to college, I started like wilding out, like, you know what I mean? Like doing whatever. And I realized that it was kind of connected back to that. Still not like getting at the foundation of like the problems, you know what I mean, that were happening. And it all kind of fell back to the family dynamic. So this whole project really is just me telling like a loose narrative about going back to Senegal for the first time in 10 years and like having to navigate the like mental trauma that you experience as a child that like you haven't come to terms with, and like trying to get a peace of mind. Essentially, that's just what I was trying to do with it, I think.
Yeah.
For real.
So this is a lot. There's a lot packed into this project.
And
Yeah.
this is the first time that I'm hearing this story, and man, it's quite impactful, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking the same, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's evident, like just even in your lyrics, that family comes up a lot, and different,
Yeah.
like you said, different like pieces of your family that exist in different places. And this is very interesting because currently, by choice, my family has all moving to different like geographic locations.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like you said earlier, about you can very much be influenced by the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
They almost become
Your
family.
Yeah.
So I have not really been truly connected physically with my whole family since like my oldest brother was still in high school, because that means he was still in town, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's 6 years older than me, and I finished high school like almost 4 years ago. So that's like 10 years
That's a big gap.
that we
yeah.
haven't really been together.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting that the people that we hold as like our first set of community, like it's our first line of community, and we all leave
You kinda
each other,
lose
which
touch.
is really interesting.
I'm noticing that in my family too. On like my mom's side, it used to be super close. Everybody was super tight knit. My dad's side of the family, like, so I come from like it was like it's like a traditional or Orthodox Muslim family,
Mhm.
very tight knit, very structured, very like caste system, like names are kept in the family. I think it's beautiful, like that whole idea of like everybody being there for each other.
Mhm.
And it's like that with my mom's side, but you can tell just like kind of the similar deal to you. Like when, like as of late, like my, cousins go off, get like my cousins that I used to hang out with all the time are like getting married and having kids, and like my, and you just don't see people as much anymore, and it doesn't feel as tight knit because like I feel like for a lot of families, at least for my family, like the grandparents or like the matriarchs or like kind of my family, like the glue that holds everything together. So like when they get older and they start to kind of pass on, I feel like for me that's when I started to notice more of like a scatter. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because you're getting older, so you're like more inundated with your stuff anyway, just in your daily life. So you don't have as much time to even think about it. But then I feel like there'll be moments where it's like, damn, like when was the last time I called my cousin and like talk to her and see what's up with her. So it's really interesting. It is for a really interesting concept.
For sure. Well, let's take that and move on to our next track. So we listened to Spring Forward first, which was the opening track to Faded in Plain Sight.
Yeah.
And now we're going to listen to Broken Mirrors, which is further down.
Yeah, so the order that I selected wasn't by actual track. It was just more kind of like what I thought would flow well together.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's what I wanted to ask was like, where does Broken Mirrors fit into the story of the project?
So Broken Mirrors is the last track. Technically, Novocaine is like an extra track I threw on, but Broken Mirrors was like when I made it, I was like, all right, this is the last song. And the reason, so Broken Mirrors essentially for me was about, so by this point in the project, it's more centered, like, so the first half is like more narrative driven, where like I'm kind of telling you like I'll give you little stories about college. Like I'm giving you stories about going to Africa and like having that interaction with family. But then towards the end, it kind of reflects more to like a sense of self. And so that track's me literally like talking to myself and like coming to grips with how my relationship with my father, like as a child, how that like affected ultimately like how I like felt about myself as I got older and realized that like we were more similar than I was, you know what I mean? Because I feel like when you're a kid, you like, when certain things happen, it's harder to understand like how someone that you're like super close to, that you like really care about, when they do something wrong, like trying to rationalize that, because in their eyes, you see your parents and your kids like, they're perfect. They have everything figured out. But the older you get, the more you realize that like they're just people, and like they're just trying to figure their stuff out like everyone else. And that song was just like literally me just like looking at myself and like thinking about everything I just talked about throughout this whole project, kind of like flipping it back to the self and thinking about how like what am I doing to like get like better, like what's going on with me. So I think that's super important too when you go through like traumatic things and you experience things. Sometimes it's easy to get so like consumed in thinking about how they've affected how like it makes you feel without necessarily thinking about like how it's actually working like on you, like how I behave, like why do I have certain tendencies that I have, like why was my sense of self like less, and then like what did I have to do to figure that out. And I don't know, it's just like a lot of like questions, like internal questions. So,
Beautiful.
Yeah, that was the song.
Let's jump into it. This is Broken Mirrors.
Yeah, oh shit. After a while I paid a visit, yeah, and now I'm stuck with reminiscing, yeah, which could explain all of the fishing lately. Been feeling jaded since we diminished the vision, but after a while I paid a visit, yeah, but now I'm stuck with reminiscing, yeah, which could explain all of the fishing lately. Been feeling jaded since we diminished the shit. I'm strictly yelling off we the sin, till the doors align with like often we the sin. I've been inclined to depend on myself and weed again to cope with mechanisms defensive built from the reasoning. My father a doctor left moms with no options. Subdue the subconscious, acquire faith to make it right, like an octave, and then she left. We followed suit the thread, been counting past 10 in search of attention. Sick of pretending yesterday ain't been plagued with detention. Feel bad my father attached to tasks of repentance is sad. A death and tax is the only thing he's prevented from falling short of consistent, along with the red cognizance of thread that's bound in between him and I. We blind to the essence of the tales of events, quite unfortunate, likely. Jim carrying quite a presence and masking fall to the pressures. My mama filled in between dodging ill man and phonetics. My family tree gone to pensive with hopes and force of prevention. When it came to tension, plans of us leaving, she started to mention, hey, adopted methods so unorthodox, a second late. This mantle family trees keep me company every day. I wait. I'm loading weight, I'm yelling weight, I'm yelling weight straight. But after a while I paid a visit, and now I'm stuck with reminiscing, which could explain all of the fishing lately. Been feeling jaded since we diminished the vision, but after a while I paid a visit, and now I'm stuck with reminiscing, which could explain all of the fishing lately. Been feeling jaded since we diminished the vision. Gomer home revealed why she split in spite of tradition, despite the fact I've been chasing my senses like a statistic. Chasing like statistics, missed this. My destination's been seasoned for greatness, dream tenacious. Along the lines of engaging a frame of mind and start gazing, embracing roles of constellations, cloud the compensation. My route's been tainted from the cons position, marking compositions, bearing burden, size of boulders, bold in opposition. Can't congregate the conversations I've been dodging lately, thinking back when driving Miss Daisy, testing my childish patience. I may be 20, but I'm thinking maybe I'm still stuck inside of that little boy, penetrating the pages for the sake of running stages like an operation. Plus a dentist's desk, my shoulders carrying through selling soulless strictly for credit consolidation. The pearly gates for my threshold involving patience. I exhibit C's for my Caesar. Like J Electro, I disregarding the valence that lets me breathe respiration. My papa cheating had me yelling fuck surveillance. Never bought a piece of mind cause I couldn't. Mama accommodating over comments, dating days I've tried erasing. Used to bleach up evidence of French and better relations. Likes annihilating. All my truth I've been embracing. Peep the phrases.
That was Broken Mirrors off of Will Kobus' 2019 album, Faded in Plain Sight. Ali, this track, like, just very intentionally listening to it that time, like, thought was full of, like, confrontation.
Yeah.
And, like you said before, like, confronting yourself. And way more emotional, like, this time listening to it than, like, when I was running through the album, like, front to back.
That's a dope, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I definitely want people to, like, I mean, if you like the music, just like sit with it. I feel like all like music, you know, definitely deserves like some attention, just because I feel like you're like that's my favorite experience, like with listening to music, because I'm like, you know, I'm obsessed with music. Like I literally listen to music 24/7, and my favorite shit is like getting to listen to an album, like run it back a bunch of times and finding something new in it that I didn't find the last time, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's cool too because everybody can interpret it however they want it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, man.
And also see themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
Like the circumstances can be different, but I think there's a
can.
lot of themes that can be applied to different people's situation, which in my opinion is so impressive to be able to create that
Thank you.
feeling.
I appreciate it.
So something else I wanted to talk about was, so we kind of talked about family as like this first line, like your central ring of community. But not only do we find that familial bond and community in our non-family members of our communities, but also we put ourselves in many different familial or even non-familial communities. Like we have different friend groups. We have friends who we associate with different things in our lives, and we call upon for different, you know, responsibilities as friends and as members of our community.
Yeah.
But it's also great because these are not mutually exclusive communities. You know what I mean? Like they overlap a lot. And I want to know where the community of music and the people you associate with that community, where does that fit into your life? Like where in your
terms of like
your Venn
the
diagram of
people-
communities, where does this fit?
In terms of like people that I do music with,
Sure, yeah.
well, I think that's actually a really interesting question, because for me, making music is like, it's a communal experience, but it's something that the bond you have with the people you work with, I feel like very heavily dictates like the kind of music you make. So like all the people that I'm like, I make music with other people, and I feel like the more music I'm putting out, the more I'm gonna have opportunities to like work with other artists. But like all the people that produce with me, like help me produce songs, features that are on it, the couple that are on there, engineers, like these are all just like my homies, like people that I actually like, we just kick it. Like my producer, when I had that show last week, when he came down, like they were like, we just kick it, like that's just my boy, like we just hang out. But I think having that relationship makes the process of making music like such a different experience, because it's not like a calculated thing for me. So drawing back to like it, like how do people that I hang out with fit into the Venn diagram? It's just kind of like how you said, they're not mutually exclusive. Like so my music friends are just like my friends that like I'm generally just kicking it with, and then if we make music, cool. But if like we don't, you know, like it's not even about that. It's just we're all music nerds. Like every time I see them, we're just gonna play some stuff we try to put each other on to something we haven't heard, and like fan out about whatever we're listening to, and then just like from there someone plays a beat or something, and we just like just get inspired, just start having fun.
For sure.
That's how it's been lately, which has been really, really fun. Just like getting to work on new music again, and just like.
Yeah, I mean, I need to give you a lot of credit because you and I don't know if it's Ethan every time, who is your producer, but like almost every night you're on the phone in your room, like playing beats to each other and working on stuff. So I gotta commend you for that. You put a lot of energy into this.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah. Matt, for you like a lot of your communities are based around the physical activities that you do. So where does that fit into your Venn diagram of communities?
My physical activities? Well, really just right there at the core. I mean, when you're out there with these people doing these activities, it's often something you have to do as a team, or you can't do it. Goals you can't get accomplished that you without a team. And so those people that you are, you know, relying on, or that I have been relying on, I have grown really close with, and are my go-to people for when I'm here in College Park, when I hang out or
for sure
need to talk, whatever. You
Absolutely.
know?
And this is such an interesting point, because I think it's the first time we've declared like an outcome of community, which is team building and also personal development. Like not only is community important for like the fact that it is a community, but each individual extracts positivity from this community. And if team building and personal development and communication development are a part of that, then that's beautiful. And also we can find that in so many different ways. physical activity for sure, but also teamwork when you're making music. This, like you said,
Right.
it's a team project. You mentioned so many people involved in this.
Yeah.
So it's really great that we're using our communities to get positive benefits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dylan,
Yeah.
what would you say is your, I think we said Ali's was kind of music, mine was physical activity, but your like center ring of community, or the ring you spend the most time in?
This is a good question.
Because I was thinking I really couldn't just hit one. And
Yeah,
like,
for me,
yeah.
and this is what I would say is my answer as well, is I don't have a solid core community. I have to say my family, because although we are all in a transitional phase, every single one of my 7 family members or 6 family members, we're all transitioning, but we do put effort into staying in each other's lives and staying and remaining a support system, which I think my family has done a fairly good job of in the past. There have been ups and downs through that, for sure. But my family is, even though I don't communicate with them every day, and even though I'm not spending the most time with them, like I said, I'm in different geographical regions than them, that might be my core community.
Nice.
And then, there's definitely the people I live with, like Ali and Sarah and Ali and Ethan. Like, I'm seeing them every day, multiple times a day. And, most of our conversations and most of our interactions are, in my opinion, too short. Like, I would just love to have more time.
Yeah,
you know what I
man.
mean? Like,
Yeah, we've had some pretty good conversations
for sure.
in the house so far.
For sure.
When I'm running out the door at my home, you just see him and it's what's up. But I've been thinking about this a lot lately. When you live in a house or an apartment and you might be in there with old friends or new roommates, it can be interesting developing that relationship in both cases. If they're old friends, you're learning how to live with them in a new way. You handle money. You share a bathroom. But if they're new people, you're getting to know a completely new person. But that information of how they use the space is also new. It's not contrasting to an old friend. And I now am living with 2 people I did know and 2 people I didn't know. And it's been very exciting to watch that relationship grow.
Yeah,
For sure.
And how about you guys? I mean, everybody in your house, Ali and Dylan's home, knew each other before. Correct?
Yeah.
And work at the same company? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
This is true. We all do work at Vidge.
It's just like a mini Vidge house.
Yeah, true. No, but yeah, none of us have lived together besides me and Ethan.
Yeah.
And
But even when you guys were living together, I was like always there.
yeah, this is true.
I literally was living there. I wasn't.
But yeah, I think it's going well.
Yeah,
Shout
it's
out
going
everyone who
pretty
lives at the house.
Shout out
Yeah,
Ali, Sarah, Ethan.
for sure. Well, how about we get into the next track?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go.
This next track is called Novocaine,
Yeah.
off of your project Faded in Plain Sight. And like you said, this is an additional track that you added on to the end. It is technically on on Spotify
Yeah, it's
streaming
on
the
it.
last track.
I
but-
actually have a fun. Yeah, it's funny. This song was like kind of the thesis statement. I don't actually not the thesis, but just like a summary. Just kind of like I feel like it summarized everything that I was talking about on the project, just in one song, like in a condensed version. And it's weird because it was one of the last songs I wrote before I started recording, and it took. I heard the beat. I was at home, like my home in Jersey, visiting my family, and I think I just heard the beat. I had like a little sound bar set up, and I just like wrote something quick. I did it in like 20-30 minutes, and I recorded it. And I'm thinking like I'm just gonna play it for people to be like, yeah, this is just something I made, but I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with it. Everyone's like, yo, you have to put this one out. Like this is this one's for dope. So it ended up on like that. But yeah, people like the song, and I mean I love the song too. The dude that produced it is an amazing producer. His name is Park Ave. Shout out to him.
True.
But yeah, Novocaine, it's just the summary, I feel like, of everything. And it's just kind of like a fun, like it's like
Banger.
oozing on like a banger.
Banger.
Yeah,
And
so.
everyone will be able to feel this song when listening to it right now. So let's get into it. This is Novocaine.
Word.
Never been scared to tell these niggas I don't let it bang. I just spit that Novocaine and hope you people don't depend on shitting on the pain, shitting on the what? Shitting on the pain, shitting on the what? Never been scared to tell these niggas I don't let it bang. I just spit that Novocaine and hope you people don't depend on shitting on the pain, yeah. Shitting on the what? Yeah. Shitting on the pain, shitting on the Keep on running from tradition, still dependent on addiction. Shit is low-key an addiction. Smoking gas for the stress I'm feeling every time I think of what I'm missing. Know the tape about to drop and now this pretty these niggas taking for the listen. Ain't moving quicker for the juice and taking other niggas' cues been a mission. Feeling constantly drifting from trying to travel the distance. Check. A relationship with my pops broke till it bounced back past resentment to the side along with the petty crime police framing niggas with resistance. Wait, don't depend on metaphors, A, to keep you coming back for more. A, I'm bored of running up the border, I'm over keep score should be bumping like swords. A, balance it. Direct with the internet, key like the internet. Jazz in the chat like we internet on. Using attention to interject. Niggas' attention I intersect. Turn your girl to Quasimodo anytime we laying in the bed. Shit ain't in the bag, gunning for the bag. Only half a battle. A, more than like tags. A, been praying for my dad. A, finding closure got me out my mind. This shit a drag. Never been scared to tell these niggas I don't let it bang. I just spit that Novocaine to help you people don't depend on shitting on the pain, shitting on the what? Shitting on the pain, shitting on the
You guys just listened to Will Kobus's Novocaine off of his 2019 album, Faded in Plain Sight. Man, it was a beautiful day here in College Park, and when discussing the tree and path of the week that Dylan and I would choose today, we actually, coincidentally, had the same area in mind. So, Dylan, man, what did we see today?
So today, when riding back from the Epley Recreation Center area, I take the Xfinity Center parking lot back towards the View in order to, get across Route 1 from my house. So I'm looking, and in the past couple of days, everyone's been saying, like, oh, the trees.
Here
like
it comes.
Like the little edges of the trees are turning. It's ready. Yeah, I mean, this week it won't dip below 80, which is a shame because you're getting these kind of mixed signals. Yeah. But anyways, I'm riding back towards the View in the Xfinity lot, and out, like, expanded in front of me from my left, curving around to, like, the front of my vision, and even on my right are these gorgeous trees, a whole mix of trees, with that little tinge of color coming in. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful contrast between, like, my mental image of what the trees currently look like. It was really a wake-up call.
Yeah, I think those were the first trees that I have seen that have really noticeably changed. It was wow.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. And beautiful area all around there, really.
Oh, definitely. What goes on over there, Matt?
Well, the only thing that I know about that goes on over there is behind the Terrapin Trail Garage are some beautifully accessible woods. They are having a construction project of some sort between where the Epley Recreational Center is and Terrapin Trail Garage, but back behind that are some nice woods, an abandoned home over there, actually. Dylan, have you been over there to that house?
I have not.
Yeah, I have traveled there a few times when I was a freshman, but abandoned house back there, go and find it.
True.
And you can also catch a view of some of the many solar panels that are on this campus.
And to fill you in about the construction that's going on behind Epley in those woods, it's a stream reconstruction project that is sponsored by the Maryland state government. And what they're doing is essentially the stream that ran back there was having just a lot of erosion. I mean, they said that the banks of the river were coming in at like almost 8 feet tall.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy banks over there.
Yeah, and so this is kind of like an ecological restoration project where they're trying to restore kind of balance to this ecosystem, restore the levels of the banks of the river, and hopefully in this Diamondback article I read that they'll have some native salamander species, some semi-aquatic species coming back to this stream.
Wow, man, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure. So now everyone's aware of that little tidbit, and also just, take yourself to that part of campus. Around Xfinity, beautiful trees. This is a great time to get some expansive views of trees.
I was thinking that.
I need to go peep this. I
Yeah,
haven't
for
gone
sure.
by.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was
sounds
thinking
cool.
about how you recommended the chapel, in the first season of the community garden
Mhm.
way back when, because of the expansive view you can have. And I thought about that today. This is really the only other place on campus I can think, if I'm standing on top of Xfinity Hill, really see for a good distance away.
Well, everyone get yourself over there to the Xfinity side of campus and get some early fall colors in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about campus, Ali, you've kind of told us a little bit about your changing environment. I'm kind of interested how your experience living here in College Park has been. I know it's been interesting for all of us.
Man, I think living in College Park, I think just college in general, it's been a very transformative period. Like, for many people, I'm sure a lot
For
of people
sure.
can relate to that sentiment. But I think for me, I think that I started to think about things different in context to like my relationship with my environment, like in terms of like my race and like my experience, like in that sense, because I grew up in an environment where I was always kind of like the only one, like I was a token. So it was interesting kind of when I got to a point where I was going to college, I was looking for somewhere where I could that kind of felt like a shift, or like a change of pace from what I was used to when I was growing up, going to middle school and going to high school. Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of things that I love and I don't love about this place, but I think that there's, in terms of like the experience and like my mentality, how my mentality's changed in the past few years since I've been in college, like I'm super appreciative of it. And I don't know if I can attest, I guess, to this place as much as just like the people I've met. 'Cause I think that's what it is, right? It's like, it's not the place, it's like the people you meet and like the experiences you have when you're in that environment that like act as a catalyst for other things to happen, and for new territory and like new ground to be covered in terms of like what you understand and what you don't understand and what you're thinking about, and like what's important to you and like what's not important to you. So just kind of like all of that like culminating, I think for sure I'm definitely I think that like living here has just been like a really interesting experience. It's been a growing process.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what's very interesting is we're about to leave. Maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're right.
we will have, we have developed a community here.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years, and some people will stay here longer, and some people will stay in the area, but a lot of us will not. So
Mhm.
I think it's a really, really awesome that you synthesized like the ways you've learned from this situation and from this new community, because in the future we will be in new communities, and we
Yeah.
will have to look for these things
Yeah.
to fill these gaps and to bring us new experiences.
Yeah.
So that this is a good point to make, because we need to understand why the community is important so that we can seek it out in the future.
Yeah, Ali, you were actually telling me before we walked in here about how you have recently moved to a new home, and that you are having, it's just difficult to meet new people when you're our age and you move to a new area.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in Jersey, I moved like about an hour south. I'm like 15 minutes outside of Philly. And yeah, it was weird. I didn't think, my mom called. This happened like a year and some change ago now. Like she just called me and was like, yeah, because I knew they were thinking about moving. Because my grandmother's like moved in with us, so like we just got a little bit of a bigger space. But she called me and was like, yeah, like so we're moving, like super casual. And I was like, all right, yeah, like I didn't really like initially, like I was like, all right, like I didn't really pay it too much mind. And then when I went back for I think it was like Thanksgiving or something, I don't remember, or Christmas, I went back and I was just like, damn, like how am I gonna, you know what I mean?
Enjoy
like,
yourself, really.
Yeah, like I didn't know, and like there were some neighbors on my street that were my age that like went somewhere else, so like I know them and they were cool. But yeah, a lot of it was just literally like, we talked about this too, is like I had an internship over the summer in Philly, so I was pretty much staying at home, and that was the first time I was like actually hanging out with people like my age in that area, just like getting to know people and like meeting people through the people that I was working with. Yeah, so it's nice, and it's way better now, like the experience. And it wasn't bad before, like I didn't mind. I would just drive up to wherever I was at before to go hang out with my friends from where I grew up. But it's nice to be where you are like physically present in terms of like if that's gonna be my permanent residence. Like it's nice to have a few people that, I can feel like I'm like I can go chill with and just kind of like get away if I don't want to be in the house or something.
Yeah, add some more rings to your Venn diagram.
Because when I'm at the house, I'm just a chauffeur.
Oh, really?
My grandma, dude. I'm like
Yeah.
my grandma's chauffeur, bro. We just bump. I just get her in the whip and I just be.
She like your music?
Nice.
That's a good question. Yeah, I've played her my music because when I started making music, I didn't tell anyone in my family. Like my mom didn't know, my
Interesting.
brothers
Yeah,
didn't know, my dad didn't know, and I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't even, and even my friends, like there was like a handful of people that knew that I was doing even like trying music, because I just didn't want to give off the impression. Well, the first thing was I didn't want to give off the impression that I was doing it like for some type of like validation or like I guess like attention at first, because I also understood that like I was trying to like it's something you have to like put time into, but also I feel like there's so many stigmas that come with like when you say you want to rap or like do music but like rap, I feel like specifically, and I just feel like I didn't want to have to even like feel like I had to like explain, you know what I mean, like why I was just like expressing myself the way I like saw things. So that's what it was initially. But yeah, like my mom knows, she's super supportive, which is really dope. She like really, cause she understands that like it's like therapeutic for me. So cause she's like listening to it and she's breaking it down, cause everything I'm talking about ties directly back to her. So even like having her and my dad, like having him sit down and like listen to it, and like him being able to hear everything that I always wanted to say, but I could never say it. So I had to just play it for him. Yeah, and like starting that process now. But yeah, my grandma, she likes my music. She always says she's not a big fan of rap. She just can't understand it, you know. It's just too many words for her.
Yeah.
So, but she likes the beats though.
It is a lot of information.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've been like thinking about too, like just working on new music. I have like a little studio set up, so I'm like working on stuff constantly, but I think like trying to think about more like creative ways to frame like narratives that I want to talk about in a way where it's like more digestible, in the sense of like just you being able to actually hear everything.
Right.
And so that's something I'm thinking about a lot now, like when you think about space and like letting space do work, and like not always like just like hitting you to the point where you're just like, all right. So yeah, I definitely am trying that, but still like it's still a process of just like doing what you genuinely feel. But I'm just thinking about certain things now that I wasn't necessarily thinking about before, and I just feel like it's just gonna do the work of whatever I'm trying to do with the music, like justice in the same way. So it's definitely I definitely can resonate to that point, because I think it's, I don't know, thinking about how to just do something that feels different, in the sense of like I'm not in the same place that I was when I made this, whenever I put whatever out next, but at the same time it's still coming from just like a genuine place, and it just being
for sure
transparent.
So this is a very specific medium to express this story, and also to express yourself in general. Have you, or do you want to get into other ways to express this story particularly, or any other thing that you want to get out to people? Like, have you thought about any other mediums?
Oh, in terms of getting this specific story out, you're saying, or just anything in general?
Anything in general, but if you haven't answered, yeah.
Oh man, well, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, just like I know that for many artists, it is, they have a main medium, but other times they will dip
doing
into other things, to express yourself.
Of course,
in
man.
any way.
Skating. I mean, I love skateboarding. I've been skating since I'm 21. I've been skating since I was 14, I think, or 15, and like that's always been like, that was like the first thing that I feel like I chose, and I was fully cognizant of like why I was doing it, and I was like, all right, like I'm doing this, and like despite other people being like whatever, like black kids on the skate, blah, whatever, I was like, nah, like I want to skate, and like I did it, and I
Hell
like
yeah.
and I like stuck to it, and it taught me a lot. It taught me like self-discipline. It taught me like like, you know, the concept of like the cliches, like practice makes perfect, and like being patient. Like things don't just come, you know, you have to like really work for everything. So for like, and then the feeling you get when you actually accomplish whatever it is you've been like busting your ass for like months trying to get, that translated so well. And it's I always think it's funny that like I ended up getting into music after that, and I still skate to this day, but just like that mentality that I learned like from skating, that I was like so attached to, I just like inherently came into music with that same mentality of like, it's not overnight. You just gotta just like keep doing, like you keep working at it. And then also like, I think what's interesting about skating versus like doing something like music is like, music for me is like therapy in the sense that it forces me to confront everything that I don't want to confront. Whereas like when I go skate, or like I really like clothes, like just like other creative things that I'm into, like that's like a way for me to get like my mind off stuff, right? So it's like, I feel like it provides a nice balance too, because then like I'm not constantly doing something that's like, I don't want to say like self-deprecating, because it's not self-deprecation, but just kind of like flipping the lens around, because that can be very sobering. And I think like after a while, you know, too much of that can sometimes like have negative effects. But then sometimes like being in the daze and like trying to escape things that like you should really be working to address, that can be negative as well. So it, like having music and skateboarding as like the two things that I'm constantly, you know, I do other things like play basketball. I used to run track. Like I was like into sports, but skating and music, I feel like are like the two constants in the past, you know, from when you start actually doing stuff like to now. Those have been like the two constants. So it's just interesting. So I feel like they correlate, but like
They complement each other nicely for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, skating for sure. Skating is so fun. I'm working on trying to get this new trick right now, and it's been
The laser flip.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
laser flip.
you've heard me vent about this.
This is
It's
insane.
upsetting.
I'd like
I'm
to see
trying
it.
to get it. Yeah, it's like a tray flip, like a 360 flip, but it's just opposite. So it's just a heel flip, and then it's like a 360. The board just spins 360, but like front side instead of the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been giving me some hiccups. The problem is I had it last semester, like going like pretty much to the end of this, like at the end of the semester, I was like pretty much right there about to land them. And then the summer hit and I didn't get to skate, and then all progress was lost. So we had to start from square one.
Damn.
When I got back. So it's in progress right now. But
Well, like you said, that patience and that practice, man, it will turn out. I have faith.
For sure.
Thank you. I need it.
Well, Dylan, you want to jump into a track?
Yeah, let's do it next. So this next track is called Lord Knows an Interlude, Mama's Cry.
Yeah. So this song is interesting. So this song, I feel like it kind of sticks out in the project because it's the songs have like a lot of bars, a lot of raps. Like it's pretty rap heavy, but there's like some melodies like and hooks and stuff in a lot of the songs as well. But this one is like no rapping. It's just all singing. And like I don't think of myself as a singer in any means. I'm definitely like into melodies, and like when I hear beats I can resort to like I feel like I resort to the melodic before I like start thinking about flows sometimes, which is interesting. But yeah, this song was just like, it was from the perspective, like I wrote it from the perspective of my mom, thinking about like when she found out that my father was like cheating on her. And it within the realm of the album, it kind of falls after like when I'm in Senegal and I'm like I have a song on there that comes a little bit earlier where I talk about like meeting my stepmom for the first time. And the interesting dynamic about that is my stepmom is like the woman that my father cheated on my mom with, and they have kids. So just like even that site, like how that was affecting me, like, so it goes through, I talk about my family dynamic in the next few tracks, and then that song hits, and it's just like it draws back to like her perspective of like when she found out, because that's ultimately what contributed to that whole series of events, was like that moment, like that was a turning point. So yeah, super simple. It's just like a bridge and a chorus that repeats, but I just wanted, like, that one was like more personal. Like, I just kind of did that just for myself when I wrote it, and we ended up recording it. I actually did that too with some other TRL artists that some people might know, Mellow Rello, and my friend Bruce Take Nap. They're both super dope artists. They both helped me with production on that. Matt did the beat. He had like some drums and like some snares laid, and then Bruce came in, did some, it was just like messing around on the bass.
Is that Matt Hoffman?
Matt Hoffman, yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Put some chords on there, and then we would just kind of like mess around with it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
This is Lord Knows an Interlude.
So I've been blind, but Lord knows karma comes back around. You reap what you sow. I've been blind, but Lord knows karma comes back around. Don't you make a sound? The wall has been falling down like Berlin. No bullet since you found the confidence to leave me dry. The rain do drown, 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 the rain do drown. I'm off you, can't fall down. The rain do drown, the rain do, the rain do drown, the rain do drown, the rain do drown. I'm off you, can't focus. You reap what you sow. I've been blind, but Lord knows, karma comes back around. You reap what you sow. I've been blind, but Lord knows, karma comes back around. Don't you make a sound? The wall has been falling down like Berlin. No bullet since you found the confidence to leave me dry.
That was Lord Knows an Interlude by Will Kobus. So Ali, we were talking about, this series of events that you were made aware of at different times, kind of the guiding story behind this project. And like you said, this song is kind of from the perspective of your mother. And I wanted to know if you and your mom and your family were communicating about this situation and about the many facets of this situation while it was happening.
Yeah. So it was me, my mom. I have 4 siblings. I have 2 twin. So I have 2 younger brothers who are twins, a younger brother, and then a younger sister who are my half siblings. But I don't believe in that. Those are my brothers and sisters. But yeah, so it was me, my 2 younger brothers, and my mom. And so when we were going through the motions of leaving the country, because we couldn't just get on a plane and leave out of Senegal, we had to go through this. It was like an operation, like a whole scheme, pretty much. When we got out, or while we were going through the process of getting out, my mom was super like, when she tells me that she, like, when I was younger, I was very self-aware that like something was going on. I just didn't know what was going on, and that basically she just explained to me like, things aren't gonna be the same. We gotta go away for a little bit, but I need you to like be strong for me right now, because essentially what she was doing was like within the framework of, I guess, like how society functions, like she just kind of took us hostage, so like people were looking for her, so we had to like, I really like she said, like, obviously I didn't know what was going on, but I was like, she told me the story. I remember there was a point where things were happening that she just like didn't understand. Like, she's a very spiritual person, so like this whole experience like did a lot for her in terms of her faith. But like we got separated. We were at a border, like basically like at a border, like going through a border, and they detained us and they separated me and my two brothers from my mom, and they're talking to us and they're asking us all these questions. And basically like I was like almost like I was pretty much 10, just not saying anything. Like I'm not like I knew what to do and what not to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like she said like I could have said my mom took us from, because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason I just was like, she told me what she told me and I was just sticking to that. And then like there were points where we were like late to catch a boat or late to catch something, and for some reason it was like still there, and we were like,
oh wow.
So yeah, it was crazy. But definitely was aware that something was going on. I didn't understand to the full extent, and obviously I don't think we were communicating in the sense of like she was letting us know as things were happening what was going on, just because we were so young.
Yeah,
she
I mean,
didn't wanna,
you're
like,
the
put
oldest
that.
sibling and you're 10.
Yeah, she didn't want to put that. Yeah, my younger brothers were like 6,
Wow.
5, 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were just, I don't know. She just kind of was like, all right, we gotta go.
Be
and
strong
I was,
for
and
me.
I was like, all right, we gotta go. And
Yeah,
then
not
we just
only
dipped.
not only did you have to
Yeah.
be strong for your mom, but you were definitely the role model and likely still are for your younger siblings.
Trying, man. Yeah, my younger brothers they're good guys. They're
Heck
good
yeah.
guys.
Nice.
What kind of role models do you look up to in your music?
Oh man, I have so many musical heroes. I mean, Jimi Hendrix. I know it might be a little random. Jimi Hendrix, D'Angelo. I mean, Erykah Badu. Like I listen to like my favorite like right now, like the genre of music I've been listening to the most is like mid 90s R&B soul. So like D'Angelo, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Bilal, like that kind of stuff is amazing. And then I love like Stevie Wonder. I love Marvin Gaye. I love jazz. So like John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Donny Hathaway. And then like rap, it's a broad list to it. I can give you my top 5, but it's constantly changing.
Okay.
Like the
All
5
right.
is
Yeah, hit
constantly
it.
changing. Andre 3000. This is no order, by the way. Andre 3000. Big. Man. Who else am I throwing in there? Black Thought from The Roots. Nas. Or actually Jay. And then the 5th one, I'll say Kendrick for right now, but like that one's like constantly changing.
And by Jay,
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Yeah. Jay-Z.
because
for
next
sure.
to Kendrick, I'm thinking like J-Rock.
Or I mean, I love J-Rock.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I mean, so many great, like, amazing rappers, man. Like, I love Earl, amazing. Nick Jenkins.
Well,
Ali.
Ali, dude,
Oh.
thank you so much for coming in and
Oh.
talking with us, man. It was honestly just an incredible pleasure on my part.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for coming in. And thanks for joining us, everyone, on this Tuesday. And you can join us every Tuesday till the end of the semester at 10 p.m. on WMUC Digital. Good night, everyone.
June 28th, I caught a flight along the Delta. I'm headed back home for the first time. It's been a decade, confliction ain't been no better. My mama prepare my conscience, be packed as tight as my luggage. Plus, loaded like Berettas, berets can't cover genetics. Been bonded to busted roots, Alex Haley, hailing down blessings. Hit JFK around 9 to departures, marked for 11. Sitting inside the terminal, waiting to hear directions about how to get to my section. Mine never clear, but passing the time to pros and my stance is screening on guard from intuition, restricting itself from reaching the presence. My single form of impression was apathy, apprehension. Meanwhile, while I'm picking for props through phonetics. And know she's pensive for help when it comes to time to sit down and preach to the choir. Been reaping sins of my father for half my life unattended, but hope he please and cries for repentance and yours repentance to prove he's past all the shit that's been haunting me like new tennis. 9-hour flight dedicated to losses and zeros in tennis. Outside the terminal, she waving. Mama waiting. Outside the terminal, she waving. Mama waiting. Outside the terminal, she waving. Mama waiting. Outside the terminal, she waving. I hope he makes it okay. Baby, I'm tripping. He just turned 18, got his head straight. No need for restricting. Depicting scenarios with some caution cause my subconscious inference. Lack of perspective with custom slaughter's predictions on whether their relationship bounces back to the surface like illness. Bound on religion, whole life been split from traditions that follow faulty decisions and turn to preemptive post. Call traumatic pictures, we cry beyond my decision. Fucking cutting deep like incisions from surgeons. It left me stuck in submission. Been grappling with my senses lately. Shit, I'ma miss you, I'ma miss you, baby. Cause I've been thinking lately. Riding on this 757, don't have a question. It's heaven sent. Your innocence has been a detriment. But let me remove you out your element. But let me remove you out your element. Yeah, let me remove you out your element. Let me remove you out your element. I'm riding on this 757. Don't have a question. It's heaven sent. Let me remove you out your element. Let me remove you out your element. I'm on this 757. Riding. I'm on this 757. Riding. I'm on this 757. Catch me blasting, blank face incessant. A simple tactic to chase my mind off the stress and revolving around discretion, receiving word about intentions. I'm loaded within my seat with intent to tether the tension. Lately afraid my past could return this time with a vengeance. Shit, the plane's about to fly and I'm telling myself this necessary. While getting text from my mama about repentance, forgiving. Your family's key, don't forget that blood trumps religion. She tripping. Is it that serious? Caught in a contradiction? Cause only Jehovah blueprint and flames are flagging this shit that's been causing my inhibition of reason. I've been out fishing, won't fail to tell my pops I've been yearning for intervention. Cause I'm at a point where all attention lost attention. Been waiting for a decade just to mention shit too. Been waiting for a decade just to mention shit too. Been waiting for a decade just to mention shit too. You, I keep it honest, swear I gotta keep it true. Ooh.
Hi Pumpkin, it's your mom. Hope all is well. You call me when you get a chance, okay? Alright. Love you. Bye. Thank you.